And welcome to Studio 5. We've got a great show for you today. We're focusing on entertainment for children of all ages. This Is Us star Chrissy Metz joins us with a new children's book. We're sitting down with an author from the D.C. area whose niece inspired his latest work, and we're diving into the Marvel Universe for a new chapter in the world of Ant-Man. But let's begin with our weekly countdown of the top 5 headlines in the world of uplifting entertainment.
At number 5,
Kansas City Chiefs have won Super Bowl 57.
Highlights from this year's big game.
I wish I'd make it easier and not be down, but I feel like I play better when we are down.
And like every Super Bowl, the night full of tradition and tribute. The medical workers who helped save the life of Buffalo Bills player Jamar Hamlin honored.
I'm doing great. Every morning, every night, I take 10 deep breaths to myself. And it puts everything in perspective for me.
And speaking of perspective,
millions upon millions tune into the Super Bowl every year. For many, commercials are the main draw.
Got no way to prove it, so maybe I'm lying.
Super Bowl Sunday ads about Jesus spark Monday morning conversations.
We saw ads about gambling, alcohol, and Jesus, right? So there was a Christianity campaign promoting Jesus that cost around $20 million. Has there ever been a Jesus commercial in the Super Bowl?
So there's never been a Jesus ad. Jesus is in a bit of a rebrand right now.
How did those ads go over? Because I'm thinking, who could be upset about that?
So from a creative message, I think they were powerful. They went over really well.
At number 4.
Hey, I'm Alex Kendrick.
And I'm Stephen Kendrick.
And we have some exciting news for you.
The movie-making brothers behind War Room, Courageous and Overcomer continue their 17-year partnership with Sony Pictures for their next big screen project, announcing production begins this summer for an August 2024 release.
When things get bad, when I get down.
Auditions, the movie title, and plot details are being kept under wraps.
One of the greatest joys of any filmmaking process is the new friendships that develop, and we're laughing together, we're working together, we're crying and praying together.
I was married to a wonderful man. And we loved each other a lot, and it wasn't enough. We were both so scared of pushing each other away that we just swallowed our feelings, time after time, and I can never be in a relationship like that again.
Understood.
So I'm gonna ask you directly. What are you doing with me?
That's Chrissy Metz in an emotional scene from the long-running hit NBC series This Is Us. With that show now wrapped, Chrissy has written a new chapter alongside Bradley Collins in a new, gorgeous, heartwarming children's book that celebrates faith, prayer, and the loving bond between a parent and child. It's called When I Talk to God, I Talk About You.
Hi everyone, it's Chrissy.
And Bradley.
And we have really exciting news that we just could not wait to share with you all. We have written our very first ever picture book.
Chrissy, you close the chapter on This Is Us and decide when that you're going to be a children's book author.
Well, I taught preschool and I have a huge family.
Yes.
So children, I always have wanted to write a children's book. It was always something that was really important to me, and I had ideas, but it wasn't until I met Bradley and we met over the pandemic, and you didn't really spend a lot of time together. We spent a lot of time talking and getting to know each other, and we just had the same sort of school of thought about how important it is to foster children, to bolster them with self-esteem and self-confidence, and that it was really important for us. And we decided that we should write a children's book about it. And it was just something that when something's just put on your heart, you're like, oh, I feel like I should do this.
It's called When I Talk to God, I Talk About You. And there's the journey to the dream of raising a child and watching them grow up right before your eyes.
Bradley, describe the process for you working with Chrissy and diving into creating children's literature.
Well, yeah, the process for me and where it came from for me is my grandfather was very sick when I was a child, about the same age that this book is for. And this book, when we were writing it, the process was, how do we explain that you can pray for your children, you can pray for your friends at school, you can pray for your pets, you can pray for your grandparents at a young age, and that it's okay to have a relationship because whatever is on your heart is what you need to talk to God and thank Him for, and also ask for guidance and help with.
I think in reading it, it really makes prayer more like a conversation than some complicated process that we make it. Was that the intention?
Absolutely.
That was the intention, and we had to keep on refining it, and making it as simple and direct as possible, so it's told through animals.
It is a very complex, big concept to speak to a higher power that we can't necessarily see. And we really wanted to just, remind people that you can pray anytime, any time of the day, anywhere. I mean, I'm doing it constantly throughout the day. I mean, for everybody and everyone in every situation, and make it a concept that was just relatable.
Nice. Take me inside the pages. Don't want to give away everything, but tell me the story. What happens inside?
It starts off, with a mother bird sitting in a nest, and then you find out that she had a baby, and it's about wanting to become a parent as much as it is about being a parent.
Yeah, so I've had a lot of friends who aspire to be a parent, and so we were inspired by the story of, whether you are fostering, adopting, or you're a biological parent, the dream and the hope and the wish to have a child, to then instill, the connection of God with them, and hopefully they create their own relationship with God. So it really is seeing children through a mentor, a parent, their eyes, and how they're loved and they're purposeful and they're really necessary and they're wanted. And I don't think that's a through line that we often hear a lot. And that we should, and I know I want to, and I would like to instill that in other people as well, that if you're here, you're purposeful. Those words of encouragement really, at a very young age, are put upon a kid, and it's really how they walk through life. And if they don't feel encouraged or supported or wanted or loved, it can make for a very difficult experience. And so we just want to sort of reiterate and remind, and through the obviously story of a parent to child or a mentor to child, that that they are important. And I think that's so important.
Yeah, so important. I mean, we see it in the title, When I Talk to God, I Talk About You. How did you two arrive at such a beautiful title?
Well, we had a couple different titles. Even if people aren't prayerful and they might not even have prayed before, I think that people understand, especially going through a pandemic, especially going through something that we've never been through before, that we understand that there is something bigger and greater than ourselves. It rang really well, and I felt like it really explains the book without going into too much detail. I mean, I don't know what is more special than someone saying, I spoke to God about you.
When I Talk to God, I Talk About You is available right now wherever books are sold. It's made its debut this week, February 14th, in fact, Valentine's Day. A beautiful way to celebrate love.
Still ahead.
My mommy says I'm beautiful, such a pretty little girl. She says I'm her favorite princess in the whole wide world.
From the pages of his latest book, see how this children's author becomes an advocate for this special little girl.
Introducing the CBN Bible from CBN.com. Now, an easier way to study the Bible and grow in your faith. Highlight your favorite verse. Read separate versions at a glance. Click and read a commentary. Or cross-reference your favorite verse using the Strong's Concordance. All the right tools to study the Bible, all in one place. The CBN Bible, available at cbn.com/Bible or the iTunes App Store.
This is CBN News Watch.
Thanks for joining us.
Watch breaking news, exclusive stories and programs, credible news reporting.
We show you what's happening in the world and how you can pray about it.
This is CBN News Watch, because truth matters. Weekdays at 5 on the CBN News Channel.
At number 3.
But in that tent, there's hope and unity and miracles that I can't even explain.
A final preview of Jesus Revolution, a film inspired by one of the greatest spiritual awakenings in American history.
I'd like you to meet my new friend, Lonnie Frisbee, and some of his friends. Welcome.
It's in theaters across the country next weekend.
There's this church, it's called Calvary Chapel. We say we're looking for truth. What if this is true?
At number 2.
When we rolled into town, people fascinated about us making this movie in a small town with real people.
Corbin Bernsen's 2010 film about a minister and his midlife crisis of faith.
I love you and I honor you and I respect you, no less than the day I came to know you. But if you can't be here with me, then I have no choice but to walk away.
Has produced a 2023 docuseries about the actor's own personal journey.
This is the test, what faith really is about.
The 6-episode series is available on the PureFlix streaming platform. Tell me about Journey of Faith. How did this all come about?
After my father passed away about 15 years ago, I started my journey of faith. Asking bigger questions. When my father passed, of course, a flood of bigger questions come into mind. And you're sitting with a bag of ashes and you go, oh my gosh, where's the guy who was the Little League coach?
Phone rings. Hi, sorry to inform you your father's just passed away.
He's gone. Where is he?
I was keenly aware of next time I'm on deck.
Reader's Digest, you know that.
Yeah, like that big.
I haven't seen that.
Cameras roll on him as he asks the hard questions of himself and his faith.
Along the way, we made the film, and just you can only describe it as miracle after miracle happening. So many miracles and wonderful things happened. It just, God became so evident in this to me, and my faith was reestablished.
That's numbers 3 and number 2, leaving us with just one more story in our weekly countdown. We'll get to number 1 in just a little bit. Now we want to turn to Derrick Washington. He is shining a light on autism with his book, A Special Little Girl. Its inspiration is 10-year-old Zion, who is very close to him. She is his fun, loving, and energetic niece. We asked him to read from the pages of his beautiful book as we chat more about that inspiration.
Hi, my name is Derrick Jacoby Washington, author of the new book, A Special Little Girl. At around age 4, my niece was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder, a developmental disability caused by differences in the brain. Since then, I've watched her navigate through life as best as she could with joy and oh so much love and laughter. This little girl is absolutely amazing.
What inspired this particular story?
So actually, I went home. I'm from Florida originally. I went home to Gainesville, Florida, just to visit my family, which is not out of the ordinary, and spent some time with them. I have a little niece that I was diagnosed with autism at around age 4. She's 10 now. And so as I was home, I went with her to a gymnastics class and actually observed the teacher award every student in the class with an award except my niece, because she had difficulty, with some of the movements or what have you. She still made it through, but I just needed a little additional support. And literally that broke my heart, so much so that I stayed up the majority of that night kind of researching organizations that work with autistic children. But even more than that, I wanted to write an affirmation to my niece to let her know how much we value her, how much we love her, how much we support her. And so from that affirmation, this book was really birthed. I was appalled by the disparities in diagnoses and resources provided to children of color. However, in that moment, I wanted to write an affirmation to my niece to encourage, to uplift, and to acknowledge my family's love for her.
What have you learned in this process? I mean, because obviously this touched you. What have you learned?
Yeah, so it has really sparked a passion for work with neurodivergent individuals, neurodivergent children of color, more specifically. And so I've begun looking at certifications that I could potentially get, as well as I am in the process of launching a nonprofit that focuses on providing resources and conducting research for children of color that have been diagnosed with this disorder.
Have you noticed a difference in terms of what's available to children of color when it comes to?
Absolutely. There is a vast disparity in the resources that are provided to children of color, and oftentimes they are diagnosed much later than other children, and so a lot of the services and the support that's needed earlier on in life, they don't have access to. And so we want to, we in our nonprofit, which will be entitled Friends of Zion after my niece, we want to, kind of get ahead of that and make sure that we're providing the needed resources for children and their families.
A Special Little Girl was written to remind my niece and all little children that learn differently, that they are seen, that they are valued, that they are important, and that they are loved.
What's the response been to it?
It's been overwhelming. It's been amazing. I think that I've gotten the response that I've gotten because of one, there being a lack of books that portray characters of color. Less than 11% of all children's books represent diverse characters. Less than 3% of those books have characters that are representative of individuals with disabilities. And then less than 1% of that have neurodivergent characters. And so I think that there's a need for books that speak to these things and these types of matters. And then I think that people are touched by Zion's story. They've lived out. I've gotten numerous messages from individuals that have said, hey, I've gone through a similar experience. I've lived that. My child has gone through this. And so I think it just touches their heart to know, or hearts to know that that this story has come alive and it reaches their child.
Derrick's book, A Special Little Girl, is available wherever you get your books, and he has another children's book available as well. It's called Son, You Matter. Time now for this week's Story in Pictures. Here's your Studio 5 snapshot.
We pause to remember and pray for the people of Syria and Turkey. These images help to tell the painful story of the deadly earthquakes that rocked the countries. More than 9 days after powerful quakes shook Turkey and Syria, rescuers were still pulling people from the rubble, defying predictions that the time for survival had passed. Still, hope rises from the rubble. As late as Wednesday, rescuers pulled a 77-year-old woman from the debris, still alive some 212 hours after the earthquakes. These images are this week's Studio 5 snapshot. Just moments away.
Not everybody gets a chance to save the world.
People still need help, Dad.
A deep dive into the latest movie from the Marvel Universe.
What's it gonna be? Ant-Man.
Woohoo! Hi, Superbook fans. Here's something else you'll love. It's the new Superbook Bible app. It's packed with games, activities, and Superbook episodes that you can watch for free. Oh, no! There's trivia, a fun daily devotional, and answers to your Bible questions. Plus, an easy-to-understand Bible the whole family will enjoy. You can even create your own Superbook character. Ta-da! Whoa!
No super balls, man. Come.
Sorry, pardon me. Sorry, excuse me. Ouch!
Are you getting this?
Earn super points to win daily prizes, too. And so much more! Time to get back to my adventures. See you soon. It's the new Superbook Bible app. Free downloads on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon.
Download the CBN News app. One place for all of your news. Breaking news alerts. Watch CBN News Channel live. CBN News, because truth matters. Get the CBN News app today.
Welcome back to Studio 5. And keeping with our Children of All Ages theme, we're taking a deep dive into something new in the Marvel Universe. In this chapter, Ant-Man and the Wasp find themselves exploring the quantum realm. They're interacting with strange new creatures and embarking on an adventure that pushes them beyond their limits.
I need you to be the Ant-Man. You have a chance. The chance to earn that look in your daughter's eyes. To become the hero that she already thinks you are.
I just think you should get to have a normal life.
Dad, a guy dressed like a bee tried to kill me in my room when I was 6.
Daddy, is that you?
Hey, Peanut.
Cassie Lang wants to change the world. I have a suit!
Not everybody gets a chance to save the world.
People still need help, Dad. That's why we made this. It's like a satellite for deep space, but quantum.
Wait a minute. You're sending a signal down to the quantum realm. Turn it off. Now!
She's being influenced by these superheroes around her. You know, if I had something like this when you were gone, I could have found you.
Avengers! Assemble.
I'm sorry.
It was fun watching Catherine take on Cassie.
She just shows up and she's just got it.
The buoyant energy of her character was so great.
She just wants to be a superhero like her dad. She wants to impress him.
Momentum, right? Jump tap.
I know how to do it, Dad.
You thought you could win.
I don't have to win. We both just have to lose. I'm sorry, Cassie.
So, what's it gonna be? Ant-Man.
Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is in theaters this week. You can catch it starting Friday, February 17th. At this point in the show, we have made it to our top story in this week's countdown. Here is what is finishing on top this week.
At number 1.
I was catching up with an old friend. Nothing too heavy, just checking in.
Melodic news from actress and new children's author Chrissy Metz.
Bradley and I have written a children's album to accompany our book, When I Talk to God, I Talk About You. The album is titled Prayed for This Day.
Now life will never be the same. I prayed for this day.
We've got some music to go along with this book. Tell me, when did you make that decision? What can we look forward to?
Well, we surprised ourselves because we were not planning it. But when I did the audiobook, there was some music that goes in and out of the in and outro. And Bradley and I were like, why don't we maybe do an instrumental so it feels cohesive and it feels tonally right? And then we just started writing songs.
And for us, it completes the thought that the book started, the album does. So, there's a plan for everybody. And it's designed to, you read the book to your child at night, then you send them off to bed to the Lullaby album. And Chrissy sounds fantastic on it. She sings all 11 songs on it.
And I'm thankful I'm forever changed. I prayed for this day.
When I came to Regent University, it's like the world opened up. I felt like I needed to advance my career and go back to school. Regent was a perfect fit for me. The Regent professors are world-class. You are equipped. The focus of the faculty is on each individual student, whether it's online or in person. You become a part of Regent's family. You carry with you not just the content and the knowledge, but the confidence to understand that we can be significant in the world.
Regent University. Follow your path.
Nigerian Christians
in Iran are routinely arrested.
Nepali Christians continue to suffer.
In times of trial and affliction, you need to know the truth.
One of the fastest growing Christian populations in the world.
Join Wendy Griffith and George Thomas for Christian World News.
Young people are the ones who are open to the gospel.
Powerful stories of suffering and hope that affect all Christians. Saturday night at 6 on the CBN News Channel.
Welcome back to Studio 5. Music fuels this show every week, and this week it is a personal favorite. It's Samara Joy. Take a listen, and you'll hear why Guess Who I Saw Today is what's playing in my ear.
I looked around for someplace new. Then it occurred to me where I had parked the car. There was a most attractive French cafe and bar.
That is Samara Joy, and guess who I saw today? She is the newly crowned Best New Artist at this year's Grammy Awards. On that musical note, we are just about out of time for this edition of Studio 5, so let's fast forward at least for a moment and preview one of the stories we're working to bring you come next week.
It's new music from two familiar voices.
What inspired this new single, Armor?
We sit down with acclaimed husband and wife duo Seth and Nerva.
Everywhere you look, there's a little bit of anxiety. There's a little bit of just, are we going to be all right? And I felt like we were letting go of the promises, letting go of the encouragement that we had in Christ and in the Lord that was sort of taking a back seat or a side seat, where Christ is on the throne, ruling and reigning and encouraging us to be strong.
We have time now for just one more thing. Let's return to Chrissy Metz and Bradley Collins for a final word.
For me, I'm just so grateful. You know, I always say, like, thy will, not mine be done, because my human existence and ego has a very different journey and trajectory than what God wants for me sometimes, and a different timeline too. So I just hope that the book and the music reaches people who need to hear the message and who need to be reminded how special they are and how they're loved, and also that they're brave and they're strong, and that we all do have a journey.
You know, what I pray for is that the book opens up a conversation between children and parents and guardians about that they can pray, and that it is okay, and it's normal, and it becomes a part of their everyday practice there.
Chrissy Metz and Bradley Collins, that is a great final word for this edition of Studio 5 and this week's look at uplifting entertainment. Until next time, I encourage you to make time to uplift someone around you, and then please come on back and see where Studio 5 takes you next week. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching.